becomes a part of you.
Together, they're bringing you the best in Oklahoma State sports talk and their opinions on sports topics from around the country.
That's right. Listen up. Hey, listen up. You.
Patrick Wheeler.
Let's stomp these dudes.
And Zach Lancaster.
Everyone is stupid except me.
This is the Afternoon Sports Drive on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport.
You ain't never heard nothing like this. Let me work. Show me where the mic is. I'm on stage, black shirt and my Timbs. You know how I do it. I ain't playing with you. I've been grinding. Anybody trying to sleep on me, better do something with your eyelids. I hear a lot of whining, but I don't hear a lot of rhyming. Whoa. Everybody got opinions. Let it go into my.
What up? Welcome in Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network, Friday edition, and we're getting you ready for your weekend. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah's in the house.
Yes, sir.
As always on Fridays, filling in, actually more today so for Zach, who's out. And so it should be a fun time. Biggest news of the day. And we were hoping that we would get here on Friday. The second we saw Patrick Mahomes get hurt, it was like, okay, by Thursday, Friday next week, you're really hoping you get that all clear, and you officially get that all clear that he's good to go, out of concussion protocol, ready to go against the Bills on Sunday. That's big time. I think the confidence level rises for everybody. Mm-hmm. But I'll say it for me, coming into this whole week, there wasn't a time where I was like severely doubting that he wasn't going to be out there, right? And then part of it wasn't due to the play. Because I thought that, well, he never really had, it seemed like a concussion or anything that would make it look like he received a concussion.
Wasn't it just like a pinched nerve that gave away concussion-like symptoms?
That's what they ended up saying, yeah. There was never an actual document that it was a concussion. He was just in protocol, which he was able to pass it. That's the best news you've heard all week. Now, there were videos of him practicing yesterday and today, and he looks good. I think the bigger thing here, though, obviously Mahomes is huge. But we might be getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back as well. He's practicing. That's a big boost. Darrell Williams did a good job last week, but he's not Clyde.
Oh, yeah, he's not Clyde. And that opens up the playbook a little bit because now if you have the whole cavalcade of running backs available, that means you're pretty much with Patrick Mahomes, who is the best player in the NFL. If somebody doesn't agree with that, come find me.
You wrong, bro.
Big trust. Woo woo. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes by far is the best player in the league. But to have as many weapons as possible, that's amazing. That's like giving the Terminator every single weapon he has. You give him a bigger and better motorcycle, and he can go ham on everybody. That's what you want.
Thanos getting his final Infinity Stone back. Now the only problem is I'll have to double check. I don't know if Sammy Watkins is going to play or not. Yeah. And he was out last week, which they still won without him. However, if you saw last year, he made a big difference in the postseason.
That is very true, but he's been gone for pretty much good chunks of the season.
They've adapted without him, that's for sure.
I mean, Mecole Hardman has been stepping into that role, and that's kind of what I've been wanting is, to me, if you have Tyreek Hill on one side, Mecole Hardman on the other side, and then you got somebody else filling in the middle, most likely Pringle, and then you got Travis Kelce, say less, please.
Pringle, Robinson, Kelce, ooh. And, the biggest play that Watkins made, go back in the Super Bowl last year, was when he torched Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Set up that big play. And then I was like, Sammy could retire after that. He's good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that he didn't, because he was contemplating it.
Yeah, he was, and he took basically a pay cut to come back.
He was like, more rings? No problem. I'll do that.
Even if I'm hurt, I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get more into the Chiefs later on, give you predictions for your championship Sunday. A lot of good stuff coming up in the show today. And the best news as well for Oklahoma State fans, that you kind of get that we're talking about everybody getting cleared. Well, how about passing that last round of testing for COVID in Oklahoma State? Good to go against Baylor tomorrow at 1 p.m. CBS, nationally televised big-time game against the number 2 ranked Baylor Bears, who are 13-0 and have not had a tough time this season.
Yeah, here's the thing. Whenever we start talking, it's like, oh yeah, Oklahoma State's back, but they got to go against the number 2 team in the nation, and that's when my cheers then just go, oh.
Hey, this team wanted, and I think they need, challenges. Mm-hmm. And this is a different level of challenge.
Oh yeah.
You because it's a little obviously different in terms of preparation. And then of course you're going out there against a team that can literally step on your throat at any time and never let up. So you're asking, and then you combine that with the youth you have, you're asking a lot here. But it's something that they have to be ready for and accept, and that comes with the territory of a COVID season and in the Big 12 with a team like Baylor. You really wish, and you don't take any Big 12 team for granted, but you'd love to be able to come out of this week or this long period of time you haven't played and have to play like an Iowa State or a Kansas State or something like that, where you could be like, let's get our feet wet here again and get back into the groove. No, it's like, you're going to go out there and face the Wolves here, man.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, we kind of knew what we were getting into with the stretch. We knew if COVID didn't happen, it was then OU, West Virginia, then this was going to be here. I wish we could have that so much. I would rather have that long challenge where we've had all these practices, where the guys have had time to still stay in shape, and where I almost fear like with this time, maybe some of these guys have kind of been getting out of the headspace of where you need to be for Big 12 basketball. But then again, this might give some time for guys truly like Caleb Boone, who needs to focus in, because some of these guys are still really big pieces to the squad, and some of them haven't been able to fully click it mentally upstairs. So maybe this time has actually been perfect. Maybe Mike Boynton has been saying some inspiring words, has been able to get these guys rallying around. I mean, unfortunately, this is a bad circumstance, but rallying around that. They are the underdogs. By far, this is underdogs because they have been put in bad situations. But, I mean, David versus Goliath. David wins, man.
I don't think that any of the players would probably complain about physical rest here, right? That's always a good thing. I
think everybody's good for that.
But in terms of keeping momentum going, it's hard to remember sometimes. Well, the last time they were out, they beat Kansas. It's been that long. Last Tuesday feels like 2 months ago, right? They're coming in, still riding off that momentum, hopefully, even though it's been a break. So we're going to get into 3 things that we expect out of Oklahoma State, as we always do on Fridays. My first one, Levi, and I say this pretty much every week, but it's the truth against a Baylor team as well. You have to get out and run. Now, Oklahoma State, they're so comfortable in that fast break and that transition offense. So we knew that coming in this year. They would probably have that ability with the athleticism, with the speed, and with the passing and shooting ability in these guards. You knew you were going to be able to run the floor. And then you mix it in every now and again. You get the big guys running down as well. And this is a team that likes to score early in the shot clock and especially get some transition buckets. I think that's important against this Baylor squad, because that's where you're most comfortable. Baylor's going to do their best to make this a half-court game, right? They do not want you to be sprinting up and down the floor, getting a chance to move the ball around in transition for a 3 or to the basket or anything like that. They want to slow you down, because force Oklahoma State to run set offenses, which is, it's not like they're terrible at doing that. They're just not as comfortable when they have to slow down. It's such a quick team. They move off the speed. They move off ball screens really fast. And if you can slow Oklahoma State down, that's Baylor's best chance of keeping them down offensively. So if I'm Oklahoma State, I'm really pushing the tempo here, and I'm curious to see if that will be affected by this layoff. Will there be any effects in terms of them being sluggish coming out and not being able to run it as normal?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing, is you got to be prepared out the gate to have some shakeups, because with them being out for so long without basically a week and a half worth of practice, there's going to be some things that aren't going to be right. And the thing is, if you come across those mistakes, don't let them rattle you, because we've seen sometimes when things happen to Oklahoma State, sometimes it has to deal with leads, sometimes it has to deal with pacing. Something just, it's a like when you're in a boxing match, sometimes you get punched and then you're almost in full shock. You can't go into full shock. You got to be ready to return the punch. So if there's some mistakes because you've been dealing with COVID, there's something wrong with the pacing, don't get scared. I mean, because for the majority of these games, that whether it's been a win or a loss, they've only had a couple where it's been blowouts. It's been usually single-digit games. So almost all these games for Oklahoma State, they're still in the grasp, even against the number 2 team in the nation. So it's just kind of keeping your headspace, keeping the right state of mind as things go on, and don't let yourselves get out of control.
Yeah, you can get overwhelmed by a team like Baylor, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is a game where you're asking everyone to step up and make sure that doesn't happen, because if you do allow that to take place, it's a team that can run away from you really quickly. My second one is to play solid on the ball defense, and that means that when Baylor, when they get the ball in their hands, they are so quick off the pass, right? They'll hit the screens really well, and they don't need a lot of space to get open and make plays and make shots happen and create opportunities for themselves. So playing solid on the ball defense, that means don't get confused on switches. Be able to stay with your man, lock them up if you're in the zone, and then crowd it up in the lane. But this is a team of Baylor, again, they're super electric on the offensive side, and if you let them get into any type of a rhythm or a zone. And it's, they've been known at times this season to be somewhat careless with the basketball. You can force turnovers here and there. We got to make good use out of those. This is a game as well. You can't have empty possessions. You got to be able to, that mindset is, look, we're scoring every single time we're down the floor because it's going to be a battle, and all the way till the end. It'll go one of two ways for me. And I don't expect it to go the first way, and the first way would be just be a blowout.
Right.
And that would mean Baylor will come in and tear the roof off the place, and it's never close. Or it will go down to the very end with Oklahoma State battling, or Baylor on the opposite side battling for that last shot, and whoever ends up with the last possession gets a chance to win the ballgame. That's two things right there, two ways that I think it'll either go. However, again, I would be really surprised if it were just a complete wipe.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a complete wipe either. I think it's back and forth all the way. Wouldn't surprise if maybe one gets out to a big lead, but then the other brings it back. It's going to be back and forth to the point where you might want to say, oh, this is going to be one of the top games in the Big 12, maybe for the year. Because I think with everything against Oklahoma State, I think Mike Boynton and this team knows you're going to have to push a lot. I'm going to also stay on the defensive side for my second point, and it's mainly try to figure out what kind of Jared Butler you're going to be getting, because when I look at his past 5 games, it's like, oh, he has 30 points, then he has 7 points. He had 30 against Kansas, then 7 against Tech, then he had 28 against TCU, then 8 against OU, then 21 against Iowa State. Seems a little bit streaky, so it's probably going to depend on what kind of defense you put on Jared Butler, and I don't want Jared Butler to be the guy that's going to drop 30 on me, because he can definitely do that. There's other guys on this Baylor squad that can, but Jared Butler, to me, he's that focal point of the squad. So I'm going to try to see if you can catch him on one of those bad days like he was doing against Tech and OU.
I'll say my third one is to avoid the spurt runs from Baylor. What that means is Baylor is, I think Tom put it really perfectly earlier this week, was that they will come out and you'll see 5, 6, 7 point run, and they may turn it over and it may cut into it, then it's another one. It's little things like that. Now when that happens, again, it's really tough to come back from them. So again, it goes back to defense. You're able to play as tight as you have all season long against a squad that really at times doesn't have a tough time scoring the basketball. And that's the other thing. They score around in the 80s, and I think if last I saw right, they allow like in the 60s. I don't think they've allowed upwards of 70 points this season, really. So they're we know all around solid squad, and then a little bit for Oklahoma State. I mean, your backs are against the wall because you're coming off of this time where you hope that everything still sticks, and that's got to be the most frustrating part, I think, for Mike Boynton and the coaching staff. It's kind of like you said. It's like, and it comes with the youth. It's like we need to keep the focus here, because if you had a team of 5, 6 seniors, well, then you're taking care of yourself there in that situation, right? And they're making sure, and I'm not saying that this team doesn't, but it is easier, to when you have young guys to let it slip a little bit. The mindset's not there, because once you are fully entrenched into a season, man, you're into it, right? And it's every single day. You're preparing for that next man up mentality here in terms of who you've got coming up on the schedule, and wins now get extremely important. And you go back, I said it earlier this season, if Oklahoma State were to finish out strong, and if you're ending up being able to play in the tournament and you're sitting on the bubble for a chance to get in, you look back at that front half right at the Big 12 schedule. So, they were right there so many times that they had turned the page just a little bit, but it all starts right now. You come out with a win against Baylor after beating Kansas. You find yourself as a top 25 team, and then you start rolling in. We know now as well that Bedlam has been moved to February 25th, that match that was supposed to take place earlier. That's actually pretty interesting as well, because you get Bedlam on the 25th and then the 27th. You get 2 in 3 days, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. So it doesn't get any easier from here on out. It's full throttle, and I would have to think that that's probably what Mike Boynton is saying, like, hey, guys, we got our interruption, and we didn't want to have it, but let's put that behind us, because now we have to go hard from here on out. We can't let anything slip, and we got to make sure we play our best basketball starting now.
Oh, yeah, full steam ahead no matter what. I'm going to combine 2 right here. One, and it's the one that always almost makes everybody want to yell at the top of their lungs. Make your free throws. Please just don't give me a heart attack from the free throw line. And I think something that I think Loki will control the game, the rebounds. To me, for Oklahoma State, whenever they get the rebounds, they can usually control whatever pace they want. And we also saw against Kansas. Kansas won the rebound game by about 6 rebounds, and you could tell that those rebounds really shifted the momentum towards Kansas, and that was allowing them to have a little bit more of a comeback. But thank goodness Oklahoma State was able to stop that. I think if Baylor gets more rebounds and they're leading the game in rebounds, which I mean, both Baylor and Oklahoma State are pretty close for average rebounds per game. I think Oklahoma State's favored by about a little over 1. So it's going to be pretty close when it comes to rebounds, but Oklahoma State, to kind of limit Baylor as much as possible, they got to control the rebounds.
Well, that includes second chances as well.
Oh, second chances are key, man.
Yeah, this is something that, again, it's so easy to say because Baylor is really good at turning any type of extra possession into points, more so than other squads in the Big 12. Giving them too many second chances is a death wish here in this ball game. So a tall task for Oklahoma State, but I have to think they're going to be up to it, coming in with the idea everybody's thinking the same thing we are. You know it. You turn on CBS at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and it's going to be like, well, this Oklahoma State team, they're coming off a little bit of a break here. Are they going to? Let's see how they come out. They've heard all that, and they want to come out and say, hey, look, if they start off quick, like I really hope they do, and that gives them the best chance in here, and everybody stops real quick talking about that, right?
Oh, yeah. They're definitely going to stop talking about. I got a quick question. This is just off the topic of Oklahoma State and Baylor, but it's ESPN commentary. Am I the only one that slightly finds it annoying? Am I the only one?
Finds what? ESPN commentary?
Yes.
Like during a game or like?
Yeah, like during some basketball games, I just find ESPN commentary just because they'll find one person during that game, and for almost about 2 hours, it's just that one person. Do you know this specific fact about this person? Do you know what they? Well, we do. We'll tell you. And I'm just sitting here like, I just want play-by-play and color commentary about the game, man.
I'll tell you too, it has been a disaster having to listen to 2 different guys in 2 different locations for most of the part. Like that's tough, man.
It is very weird. It's like, I love Oklahoma State, and I love that they get a little bit more talk with Cade, but also at the same time, it feels like someone wrote a love letter to Cade, and they're like wanting to be his secret like crush or something like that over in the audio booth, and I'm sitting here like, no, just talk basketball, please. Oh, look, he got mentioned the rebound, please. Stop.
Imagine how people that aren't Oklahoma State fans are watching. They're like, Cade, here we go again. Hear this again.
Exactly. It's kind of like how people felt. I keep on bringing up the name Trae Young.
It's Trae Young effect.
Yeah, it's just that one guy affected so much, and I think it's just because he was the big star around here before. Well, he was like the big guy that went to the NBA, and he's got so much name recognizability just in the state of Oklahoma. It's just that's the guy I go with.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from, and I get why ESPN does it because they're always their goal is to say, okay, we're appealing to a brand new audience every single time, right? So maybe there's this one person that hasn't heard of Cade Cunningham. What is it? We introduce them like that, all this stuff. But then Ice will do something, or Rondell or Bryce, and they'll be like, oh, by the way, did you? Isaac Likely's actually also a pretty good addition here. Oh, well, Bryce Williams has actually stepped up a bit, by the way.
And they'll be like, do you know who assisted him? It was Cade Cunningham. It's like, yes, Cade did that, but you got to admit, like, this team is more than Cade Cunningham, and we've seen that several times, and we've said that a million times, but that's not what the nation goes with, but that's what we go with here. It's more than Cade. Cade is a really great player. I will never doubt that the man is excellent. But to win a game, it's more than one guy.
Hey, Bill Raftery will be on it tomorrow, so that should be good stuff. He is like college basketball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. CBS, 1 o'clock, tip-off, Oklahoma State and Baylor back in action. When we come back here on the afternoon sports drive, we're going to get you ready for NFL Championship Sunday. Chiefs and Bills, Packers, Bucks, 4 elite QBs going at it this weekend.
It's game time.
It's game time. We're ready for that. It's coming up next on the afternoon sports drive.
You can call till your voice is running out, but I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. I'm somewhere far away where you can't bring me down, so I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. Yeah, run it
back, tell him what I'm coming at. I was on the hit there, now I'm done with that. Scared of what I didn't want, scared of
Welcome
what I
back.
wanted.
Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peck, and Paul. Levi, how's the you got your first week of shows back in? How's that been going?
First week of shows was awesome. It took the first couple nights. It was trying to get back into the flow, but we had a lot of great guests on. We're definitely going to have even more great guests in the future. Hey, maybe one night when you're free, Patrick, might bring you on.
I would be honored.
I mean, because for half the time, I'm usually talking NFL no matter what. Heck, halfway through, I believe we were talking about we were of course talking about the Detroit Lions head coach. The presser with that was
we'll play that later.
amazing.
Yeah,
and then half of the way we got through, I think we were talking about legacies of like Eli Manning, and then we got into Hall of Fame players. I mean, here's the thing. I go kind of with seasons. I've been more and more a professional guy. So like because of how I've been stuck in fantasy, I've been wanting to talk so much about the NFL. But once the NFL's over, I'm gonna dive so much more into the NBA. And there's so many people that I'll be able to talk with about all that, and it's gonna be a great time.
College student section, 8:00.
Yes, sir.
Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday. Make sure you tune in. Hey, make sure you can hear us on the Triple Play Sports Radio app. That is for free.
Wow, it is Apple and Android.
Yes, sir.
Go download it for free, and you can hear.
You don't have an excuse.
That's
download
right.
it.
No excuses.
I'm listening to you
Because you mentioned the whole Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers retired this week.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame.
Yes, but not first ballot.
Okay, I think that's fair.
That's where my whole conversation with the Hall of Fame was, because then I brought up Eli Manning, and because you could say, and I think all of us could, that Phillip Rivers most likely stat-wise, win-wise, overall had a better career than Eli. But Eli has the Super Bowls, and those Super Bowls, they're not just some Super Bowls that you throw away. They're the 2 Super Bowls in the Patriots dynasty.
Yeah, that's really important. You know, he broke it up.
Plus, you also got to think about it's the Manning name that's got the legacy. It's even going to be more in the future with I can't remember the grandson's name.
Arch Manning.
Yeah, Arch Manning, and he's looking fabulous in high school right now. I assume he's going to be an NFL QB eventually, and then he'll then pass Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and then we'll all go crazy.
Yeah, we pulled up his highlight tape from his freshman year the other day and showed Tom, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, dude looks insane. I just wonder what kind of school he's going to go to.
Yeah, I know. I guessed SEC, but does that mean will he follow Peyton and go to Tennessee, or will he go to Bama?
Ole Miss,
LSU.
Eli. I mean, I don't know. I would suspect him to go to an SEC school.
He should narrow it down to Tennessee and Ole Miss just to freak everybody out and see like which one he's going to pick.
That would be hilarious. There's just only 2 places I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go to Alabama. Okay, make that 3. I don't want him to go to Alabama. I don't want him to go to Clemson. I don't want him to go to OU. And some people like saying, wait, why OU? Well, if you look at their past history of quarterbacks, tell me how many of them got Heismans.
Yeah, right. Stay out of the Big 12.
Please.
Yeah.
I beg of you.
Go over to the SEC, do your thing, stay out of the Big 12.
Yeah, come stomp us when it comes to Natty playoff time.
Yeah, see, I love Phillip Rivers, man, and I think, look, 5th all-time passing yards and touchdowns.
Yeah.
I know he's the Super Bowls, but what he did in a 17-year career, pretty impressive. I think he's got to get it.
The reason I put him second ballot is because I looked at, it's the one thing I always go and I look at the giant Hall of Fame list where they got like 130 names. Some of the names on there, like if I started reading them off right now, you'd probably get kind of mad that they aren't in the Hall of Fame. And so I think Phillip Rivers most likely, it wouldn't surprise me if because of recency bias, he gets in a little bit earlier than you expect. But there's so many names in there that should already be in. And me and Ian Nickel, we were going through them last night, and we were amazed. We were kind of angry to see, and it's just more and more names are going to be added each and every class. And so Phillip Rivers is definitely going to pop up as one, but I just don't think it's going to be first ballot. The only guys that I could see in the NFL that are extremely old that are going to be first ballot, I don't know if Terrell Suggs has retired yet. That's going to be one in my opinion. I would think so with how he was with the Ravens.
Yeah,
I know Larry Fitzgerald is. That's got to be a first ballot.
Should be.
T-Sizzle, Larry Fitz. And then after that, I'm kind of like, those are kind of guys that are on the edge of retirement. And then I have a hard name trying to grasp at some other straws.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, of course, yeah. Drew Brees, and then besides that, Tom Brady's going to be there for like another 3 years, so I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, we don't even know when he's planning on retiring. It's definitely not this year.
He's going to retire whenever he's like 60, most likely.
Yeah, he looks like he's 25.
He does.
He's out there throwing it like he's 25.
Yeah, he's looking like he's a couple of years removed from Michigan, and we're sitting here like...
It's wild.
It's so weird. It's almost as if, like, Rob Gronkowski thought that he was playing in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wait, that happened.
That did happen, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really strange to see for sure. Let's look at that as our first game. It's the first game on Sunday. And you get the Packers-Bucks rematch, which talked about yesterday. The Packers, they didn't show up in that first matchup this season. It was really the biggest hiccup of Aaron Rodgers' season this year. That was it, and you look at what that was when the Bucs defense was surging, man. I mean, like, nobody was doing anything against them. You came up with that Packers offense at that time, and you said, okay, they might be the ones to break through, right? With the offense they had, everybody expected a pretty competitive game, and they were going to find a way to score multiple times against it. No, that defense was like, no. And then Tom Brady, of course, played well, and then the Bucs played well on offense, and that was it. It wasn't even close. I think they scored 10 points in that game is what it was, and that was without an Aaron Rodgers touchdown, believe it or not, which is also crazy to talk about.
Which also, during that little time period, that's when Tom Brady was still trying to get adjusted to the Tampa Bay system, and that's when you could truly see it started to click.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's just been rolling. I mean, 40 touchdowns this season. I think it's 43 overall, 3 rushing touchdowns to add to that, which is weird to hear Tom Brady and a rushing touchdown in the same sentence. But just to see how overall, as a core, this Tampa Bay squad is, it's very scary. I don't think they make it this season because I think the tear that Aaron Rodgers is on I don't think there's anybody else who's hotter in the NFL. I've said there are certain guys who have picked up the hot hand. The problem is there's too many guys to count who's actually the hot hand. At one point, I thought it was Tom Brady with the way he was playing. I think right now it's Aaron Rodgers. At one point, Derrick Henry. There's just too many great players in the NFL. But by far, I think it's the motivated Aaron Rodgers of thinking, oh, you're going to put that guy, you're going to draft that guy in the first round. Oh, well, guess what? I'm going to draft up another MVP. Then I'm going to try to draft up another Super Bowl victory.
That's what I said yesterday. I think he still has, to me, he gives off that vibe, even when he scores a touchdown. He's like, he's excited, happy for the team, but you can just tell it's like every single time he scores or has success in the game, it's like, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, you guys drafted up, grabbed the QB, and you didn't give me any weapons, and look what I'm doing. Like, I'm showing you what's up here. And there's a kind of this vibe of, if we don't win the Super Bowl, like, I'm gone, and even if he does, maybe he's gone. I don't know. I think he would stick around if they won a Super Bowl. But
oh yeah, I think no matter what, he's sticking around.
He's managing to do this, have this huge amount of success this season, and get to an NFC Championship game, and at the same time, it's this middle finger to the Packers to me this entire way.
To me, that's been Aaron Rodgers' career in general.
I agree.
And the thing is, it's just so hilarious because I've been comparing this past week Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre because I think that's kind of what the story... It's the story that's behind everything. It's Aaron Rodgers trying to officially put, hey, of the modern era, who is the best Green Bay Packer quarterback? Because I think there's still, at least from my point of view, I think there's probably still a lot of people that think Brett Favre, because he was really great when he was there in Green Bay, but you also got to see the things that Aaron Rodgers can do. It seems like he's a limitless guy, but it's also... Aaron Rodgers, whenever he gets angry, is the scariest guy I've ever known.
That's why I think it's fair to buy in a little stock that the Packers knew what they were doing here. They were like, look, we're gonna possibly kill two birds with one stone here. We're gonna get a backup that we hopefully can turn into our next franchise QB. Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old, and at the same time, we're gonna fire Aaron Rodgers up.
And think about it. They didn't need to get weapons for Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers developed the weapons himself.
He did, and that's why I knew that there would still be success, because he doesn't need elite talent. I know he has Devontae Adams, but he doesn't need 3 or 4 stud receivers.
But he does have some actually decent... I mean, the way he, at the beginning of the season, he gave the vote of confidence to Allen Lazard. Unfortunately, he dealt with injuries during part of the season. But, I mean, even in their previous game, Allen Lazard led in reception yards.
Right, but he doesn't have it's not like a Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson type situation, Richard Rodgers type situation. He's dealing with He made Robert Tonyan has come up big time at tight end. Devontae Adams, which is next level elite. He brings so much attention that it is going to help a guy like Alan Lazard. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has made big plays this season as well when he actually catches the ball. And then, of course, Aaron Jones is a good running back. So the weapons are there, but it's just where the Packers had their opportunity to grab a top receiver in that first round and didn't. And then it kind of made it worse when they grabbed A.J. Dillon instead. And they're like, well, we've got a pretty solid backfield. Now let's add to that. And I had to have thought that, yes, Aaron Rodgers enjoyed Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and thought they were good targets and all this. But he had to have been thinking, man, you give me a stud receiver, a young receiver that we can develop and put him with Devontae, like we're talking, this could be really, really good. Now, even if it wasn't a receiver, you could be sitting here with a defensive player that's making an impact that you got in the first round or anything else. But you've got Jordan Love sitting over there on the bench, who you are hoping, if you're a Packers fan or a part of the organization, that he's soaking up as much as he possibly can, learning from Aaron Rodgers, and he may end up sitting there on the bench for 2 years.
You know what also really helped about who else was hearing all that chirping from the people? The wide receivers. Not only was this chirp, it was, there's these guys. They are better than you. You don't deserve this spot. They should have drafted this person over you. Alan Lazard, this is the Michael Jordan meme. He took that personally.
I took that personally.
Robert Tonyan took that personally. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I always mess that. St. Brown took that personally.
Equanimous
How about
St.
that?
Brown. That's a heck of a name.
I mean, Valdez-Scantling half the time's a hard thing to get, but Equanimous St. Brown.
He's so fast.
He's
He's a deep threat, and when I'm talking about MVS here, but he just has a trouble catching the ball sometimes.
He does.
But
he has a Deontay Johnson syndrome.
He does. And, you come in with, that's why I think it's a different Green Bay team than we saw in Week 6, against the Bucs. Because it's like you said, he made a good point. With Tom Brady there in that week, they rattle off 3 in a row. And it was strange because then in Week 9, when they went in to face the Saints, that was the worst game I think I've ever seen Tom Brady play. And we were sitting there at that point like, what? Like, which Tom Brady are you going to get? And he finally rounded back out into form at the end of the season when he needed to, right? They rattle off 5 in a row, whatever it was here, and he looks as good as ever at this point where he really needs to. So if you're Green Bay, you would have loved to have been in a situation where you're not sure which Tom Brady you're going to get. Now you get to prepare for the one that's playing at a high level here, and all the weapons are good. The only thing is, and I don't know how big of a difference this would make in this game, but Antonio Brown's not going to play. He came along towards the end of the season a little bit too. Yeah, no one's crying huge tears for him. He's not going to be in there, but that's why the Bucs, they know they have so many other weapons that it's fine. And you saw Leonard Fournette play really well last week. Ronald Jones when he's healthy, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Gronk, Cameron Brate. You just go down the list. And this was the Bucs team that we knew if Tom Brady, he was the X factor, if he could click with these weapons. And yes, it took a while, right? There were growing pains, and we get that. But he's back at an NFC Championship game. Get this, he has played a full season's worth of NFC Championship games. That's insane. Or no, just championship games in general. How insane is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. He's doing better with NFC championships than the Dallas Cowboys in 25 years about?
Yeah, I think that was the number. So.
I want to cry a river.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it really is, though. I mean, and if he were to get to another Super Bowl, we can also put the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, who won that divorce argument to rest, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was after week 2. When Tom Brady and then Bruce Arians, there was all this talk, and we talked about them going back and forth, and they'll never get it right. And Bill Belichick was over there week 2, and he was like, "Hey guys, look what Cam just did.
Yeah,
he threw for 300+ yards. He's running the ball well. We have no weapons, and he's still making them work. And he was feeling good. And then we got what the Patriots really had.
Yeah, we realized that it was literally just a hollow husk of the Patriots, and then Cam Newton's like, help me.
Yeah, Bill's like, man, the good times, right?
It's like, man, I should have drafted another running back. I should have got another Sony Michel.
Disaster for the Patriots. So,
by the way, are you going Green Bay?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So with our picks, I picked the Bucs correctly last week, and I thought that they would have a good shot at winning that game no matter what. And I'm not too worried that we're going to see the Bucs of the past earlier this season. I think they're clicking at just the right time, and they'll have success. I'm picking Green Bay to win, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, they're going to blow this game out and it's not going to be close. I'm expecting a tight game down to the wire. As you said to me earlier, Green Bay just 3-point favorite. They threw them that because they're sitting there at home against the Bucs, and this is you're talking about two different teams if you think about it at this point when they met originally in the season. Now here, weeks or months later, a lot of changes going on between these two teams, and I think they're both obviously clicking at the right time. So I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to give any type of performance like last time where he was held to under 200 yards and didn't have a touchdown. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. This Bucs defense they didn't stay as elite as they were, but as you said, they got an important piece coming back.
Oh, yeah, with Vita Vea coming back, who is, whenever he's on track, he's one of the best D tackles in the league. He is amazing, extremely young. He was out for about half the season, but with Vita Vea back, it could bring some different pressure to Aaron Rodgers, and it could hurt a little bit. I remember saying last week that David Bakhtiari going out was going to be it for Aaron Rodgers. The thing is, Corey Linsley and Elton Jenkins just played amazing.
They really did.
And it just made me look like a complete idiot. So thank you. And I actually really do like that, because those are some of those guys that were kind of on the fringe of being decent to really great offensive line pieces, and they've proven that they are great, and Aaron Rodgers has fell in love with them. And then also you look on the defensive side for Green Bay, rookie Chris Barnes has been awesome.
Yeah.
If there was another guy I could put for rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, number one is definitely Chase Young. Behind that, I might put Chris Barnes, because he has been excellent back there for a linebacker. And I mean, there's just been several guys that have been developing in Green Bay, and they have been playing really great. Rashawn Gary, who everybody's like, why take Rashawn Gary, has turned into a solid piece. Kenny Clark, always amazing. You got Adrian Amos, Zadarius Smith. You go down that list, they got great talent everywhere.
That's why I couldn't pick the Rams last week without knowing that Aaron Donald was 100%. Like, he wasn't, and he was a non-factor. If he's a non-factor, you're not going to win many ball games with the Rams offense the way that they play. So that one was coming through, and then the Packers took care of it. Now, again, this is a game that I'm expecting more of a shootout than anything. Because the Packers defense earlier this year, they were the defense you wanted to face if you wanted to run the ball. You couldn't do anything against it. Now, they've improved up to this point. The Bucs are still really formidable. So this is going to be, I think, scrapped down. If it comes to any type of blowout for either team, I will be very, very shocked by this.
I will as well. I think it's literally going to be back and forth, because each of these teams have so many pieces. The offense for Green Bay has truly turned into an arsenal, because the running game, you can go the way of either Jamal Williams, or you can go with Aaron Jones, or you can literally go with the bowling ball and A.J. Dillon. 6 foot. He's registered as 247.
He's a beast. He's going to be a problem in the league.
He is going to be a problem. He's literally a little bowling ball, and that's pretty impressive. And then the wide receivers have developed into solid talents. I mean, Devontae Adams has turned into what? Some people want to say top 2 wide receiver in the league. I don't think you're wrong. Then you have other guys who are pretty solid as well. Defense is just stout, and the thing is that literally reflects over to Tampa Bay. It's the same exact thing. I think it's going to come down to quarterback play. I think it's going to come down to who's on fire right now, and I think Aaron Rodgers is just white hot.
I would say right now you have 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league left, and you have 3 of the top 5 wide receivers in the league left for me. You've got Mahomes, Allen, and you've got Aaron Rodgers, top 3 quarterbacks. You've got Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, and Tyreek Hill, who I would put in my top 5, right? And Tom Brady, I'm saying, like, right now, currently in the NFL. Obviously, Tom's the best to ever do it.
Yeah,
but you've got some serious talent left here.
And then you throw Tom's probably top 10. I'd say put that, and then you can also put Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, they're knocking
10.
On the door, right? Yeah, they're definitely in the top 10. That's for sure. So a lot of talent left.
But Green Bay, though.
Yeah, Green Bay. We're both going Packers here. I was curious if you would swing Tom's way. But if we come back next week and we're like, Tom, he's been there so many times. We should have gone with him.
Here's the thing. If Tampa Bay wins, I will not be surprised. If the team that I think is going to lose in the Kansas City Chiefs versus Buffalo Bills wins, I won't be surprised either. Because these certain teams, I believed, I saw last night, both Kansas City and Green Bay were both favored by 3. That's the old-fashioned home field advantage. You get the 3, but now with Patrick Mahomes back, that could change a little bit. And with Vita Vea back, that might also change a little bit. But here's the thing. In all reality, these should be pick'ems because I could go either way with these squads. Weirdly enough, with the addition of Vita Vea, Green Bay has went up from 3 to 3.5. I don't understand that, but welcome to Vegas.
There you go. Vegas, they know what everybody wants to know, right? Vegas is the insider. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Chiefs-Bills. Yeah, huge news. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes has been cleared. That's coming up on the Afternoon Sports Drive.
Whoa. Staring as I go.
It's the Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network, and you're locked in with Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah.
Yes, sir.
And we are pumped up for Championship Sunday. We are down to 4 teams in the NFL. How about that?
Oh, I'm excited. I had to get the Ric Flair out. I'm sorry.
Ric Flair, woo. Woo. That's how I like it. You know what?
I do the one that basically breaks people's eardrums.
Yeah, wait, what did I just hear? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, for the people on the road, I am not sorry. Ric Flair has got to get all the respect, and he gets the loudest out here.
They're looking around the car. What was that? No, it was out of the radio. It's fine.
Yeah, stay eyes on the road. Don't ignore what we're saying, but ignore the woo.
Eyes on the road, ears on the show.
Yes. Hey, that's perfect.
Hey, big news. As we started off the show with, Patrick Mahomes officially cleared. If you're just now tuning in, haven't heard, he's good to go out of concussion protocol. I don't think there were too many people that were too worried, to be completely honest, because you had the news of him, practicing, and you can do that when you're in protocol. A couple days ago, they were like they released the practice report. They're like, well, Mahomes full participant. And they immediately retracted it and wait, we meant limited, actually. So people were like, what's going on? But you get the video of him moving around. He's doing his normal stretches. He's loose. He looks like he's feeling good. Clyde was doing the same thing. Those are, if you get those two guys back. That's what's so interesting about this game with the Bills is that Clyde torched them earlier in the season. He was the guy that made all the plays happen in that one. There were rushing lanes all over the place. He was gashing them on every carry, and Mahomes didn't even have to do all that much. If you remember, Levi, that was one of those weird. It happened on a Monday afternoon. Remember that?
Yeah.
We were watching the game doing the show here on a Monday afternoon. It was super weird, but they took care of business, and it was relying on the run game. That's why I think, and the Chiefs did it last week against the Browns to start off the game. You come out and you establish a little bit of the run game, and you don't do like what the Bills did against the Ravens, right? And you throw it 100 times to start the game.
Right.
They establish a run game, and with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, when he's healthy, you can set that up so well, and all of a sudden, play action is heavily respected, and the next thing you know, you're get gashed for a huge play to Tyreek or Kelsey or whatever. So it's really important. And Clyde obviously allows a different dimension there. Last week, Darrell Williams played well. He did a really good job for what he, was basically told to do. Like, hey, man, you're starting. Yeah. I think a lot of people expected Le'Veon to probably start that game. Right? Darrell took over. He provided more of a spark. But when you get Clyde in there, you get a true pass-catching back. He runs hard, and you're going to get an ability to get a solid number of touches out of him and provide balance. So that's a big get. And it's overlooked a little bit probably with the news from Mahomes coming back. But it's important. I don't think it would have taken an actual full-on concussion, head-to-head dude was still seeing stars at this point to keep him out.
The knockout that knocked out Austin Eckler back in week 17.
Yeah, you were in person to witness that brutal hit, weren't you?
That
was bad.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad things about that.
Crazy game, right?
That's also an off-the-air story that only we know. But, yeah, that was crazy. That's the only way that it was going to take out Patrick Mahomes. If he was even 75%, if he was still kind of looking off into the distance, looking at stars, they'd have been like, nah, he's good to go. Send him out there. I mean, because here's the thing, and I've said it so many times, Chad Henne would have not won you the game. He is not good enough. Patrick Mahomes can play down to a Chad Henne level. Chad Henne cannot play up to a Patrick Mahomes level. He can't do it.
Henne is he's serviceable at best, and he plugged in and he did a great job.
Here's the thing: Matt Moore is probably a better quarterback to use than Chad Henne.
Yeah, they showed him. I showed Matt Moore taking his third string snaps, and I'm like, man, I wonder what he. I said that to you. I was like, I wonder what he would have done instead of Chad Henne. But the biggest play that Chad Henne made wasn't even with his arm. To me, he scrambles for 14 yards and sets up a 4th and 1, and he did his job. Like that, if you're a backup quarterback, you're told to come into situations where usually it means that your starter is hurt or something like that. It just so happened it was to move on to the AFC Championship game, and he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the wrong time, wrong place, and it's just whenever you're the backup in that situation, it's just if you are ahead, don't lose the game. Chad Henne did a job. He did not lose the game. Now Patrick
tried, but he
tried his best, but he did not succeed.
That's right, yeah.
But thank goodness, because now, since he succeeded, Patrick Mahomes will be going to. I'm just so excited to have Patrick Mahomes back because he is the best player in the NFL by far, and I think this matchup now, since it's going to be two guys that are most likely going to be the part of the next generation. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is already the generation, but Josh Allen's on the cusp. So to see these two go at it with all their weapons and their defenses, it's going to be intense.
Yeah, you've got it's really interesting because you've got Brady and Rodgers on the other side, and to me, this could be your new Brady Rodgers over here with Mahomes and Allen. They're battling each other for hopefully a long time in the NFL with really successful careers, just like these two on the other side. It's a great dynamic to look at because Josh Allen clearly played out of his mind this season. It's so incredible to go back and look at his growth from last year to this year because everybody saw the potential last year. Arm like he had a cannon, right? He was like, dude can throw the ball out of the stadium, but his accuracy was no good.
Yeah,
and then part of that, Levi, is like they added a couple weapons, but still.
A couple. So you just mean another top 5 wide receiver in Stephon Diggs.
That's right.
That's what they added.
He wasn't top 5 when he came over.
He is now.
Oh, yeah.
He is now.
So, but the deep ball accuracy, like you threw John Brown in that offense, you're like, man, this could be really dangerous. Like he has a speedy, deep threat, and he was constantly bombing it over his head. What they've done this year, and I give Sean McDermott a ton of credit, is not only has Josh Allen taken it upon himself to increase his accuracy and his mobility, but they've tailored the offense to also what he does best and what Stephon Diggs does best. If you notice, we saw a bunch in Minnesota. Stephon Diggs, fly route, and he was great. He would beat defenders, and he would make catches. But with this offense, as you would think, maybe they'd still run those same types of routes because it's a bigger arm with Josh Allen. Oh, no. We're going to put Stephon Diggs in the slot, or we're going to move him outside wherever he goes, and what is his normal route? He's going to run to the sticks, and he's going to come back and make a catch.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's not running these deep routes, these post routes. He's going back on hitch routes. He's getting out in the flat. He's in the middle of the field, sitting in the zone, and doing all these more comfortable routes for him, and Josh Allen is finding him all the time.
He's acting like a knife because he's cutting up all his defenders. He's just slicing and dicing them, and then Josh Allen is just right in the perfect spot to Stephon Diggs, and then whenever that happens, that means more people have to go to Stephon Diggs. Oh, we got to cover these spots. Well, then that's how Cole Beasley has been able to really succeed this season. This is probably his best season of his career, I assume, unless he's somehow had a better one with Dallas, but I think that this must be his best. And then John Brown has finally came back in the past couple weeks from dealing with injury, and now they're putting him in. This has been a really great team so far for Buffalo. Also, the establishment of Isaiah McKenzie, he's been getting a couple touches in there as well.
Dawson Knox, solid tight end.
Oh, yep, yeah. Solid tight end. And it's just now that Josh Allen is starting to finally get it together, finally starting to hone in the accuracy, because that was his problem. Yes, he could throw it outside of the stadium, but instead of hitting like a little target, he's most likely crashing it into somebody's car. Now with this, he's definitely hitting a lot more of his targets. He's hitting less cars, and that means less tickets for people. But this also means more money for Stephon Diggs because he's been cash all season long.
Oh, yeah, and they've, the defense has really stood up this year, especially late. Tre'Davious White, big-time threat. Now, there was word that Josh Norman's supposed to be covering Tyreek Hill a lot. I'm like, I hope that was a joke because the Bills definitely don't want that.
That's like Richard Sherman on Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, it's like, let's just let them be torched all day. It's fine.
Like that. If you want to lose, do that. What you're doing is you're putting Tre'Davious White on Tyreek all game, and you're saying beat that.
Yeah, he's going to shadow big time. And I would have to think, and I'll say this, the Chiefs. And a lot of people are with the news of Patrick Mahomes, like, oh, man, this is going to be a win for sure. I remain confident with him. But the way that if I'm the Chiefs defense and I'm Steve Spagnuolo, I'm like, guys, I don't care what we do. We can give up catches to Cole Beasley and the occasional catch to John Brown. but let's try to limit Stephon Diggs, and I mean get in his face, be physical, and they got to be ready for those short routes. On third and medium, it's going to go to Stephon Diggs every single time. You got to have guys coming over and making plays. L'Jarius Sneed has to have a huge game in this one. You got to have Tyrann Mathieu overshadowing him and then the deep cover, and so it's just there's a lot to do here. But if you can take away, because that makes Josh Allen uncomfortable. If you watch, like he's great with Cole Beasley and the rest of his receivers, but his first look's always Stephon Diggs, and if he can't get it there, guess what you allow? That pass rush a little bit that Kansas City does have. Chris Jones making huge plays last week. You got Frank Clark still, those guys up front passing that have a chance to get at you. You give them just a little bit more time, but it all starts with covering up Stephon Diggs. Not easy to do, as we know.
Yeah.
But if it means bringing over an extra defender, so be it to me at this point.
It really is time for L'Jarius Sneed to show why he was one of the more underrated picks in the NFL draft.
He's had a great season, man.
He's had a really good season. I think everybody was just kind of shocked because that was a name that went under everybody's radar. But yeah, he's been extremely impressive. I mean, currently right now tied for 16th in the NFL with interceptions. That's really impressive from a rookie. Yeah, that is really cool. And I think L'Jarius Sneed, out of all of the players on the defense that are kind of still in their young stage, I think L'Jarius Sneed might have the most potential, because I think he can get even better than he is right now, and I think he's got a really good ceiling. And I always like the pairing with him and the Honey Badger. I think that's perfect. I think that's a match made in heaven. And those are the two guys you're going to need to cover Stephon Diggs. Those are the guys who are going to be glued to Stephon Diggs whenever he's doing anything. Whenever he's getting water, it looks like that L'Jarius Sneed and Tyrann Mathieu have checked out, because they're also going to go get a sip of water. They're going at halftime. Sorry, these two guys are going to be going to the Bills locker room because they're going to be covering Stephon Diggs. No matter what, these two need to be glued on Diggs like it's their life depends on it, because truly it does.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And that's the thing, if you flip it around back to Kansas City, with Mahomes coming back, without him, the Bills realize, okay, we got to try to stop Tyreek and Kelsey and Robinson, and if Clyde's back, there's enough weapons, right? But they're not as worried about Chad Henne getting them the ball that accurately or that much, to be fair. Now, when you bring Mahomes back in the mix, it's back to, all right, we got to go back to what we tried to do in week one, the first time they met them, I should say, which, again, it was limited because you had Clyde running all over the place. I would have to think the focus here, not only with Mahomes coming back, but it's like, hey, look, we got gashed last time. Let's try to limit this run game and force a possibly not 100% Patrick Mahomes to make plays that he usually does, but let's see if he actually has it. I'd expect a lot of pressure here. Get him uncomfortable. Now, of course, if Mahomes does what he normally does and destroys a blitz, then that will probably subside.
That's the main thing. You got to kind of pick your poison, because Patrick Mahomes plays the best when you blitz him, which should be for a normal quarterback.
Did I hear that right? Yeah.
Yeah. You think, wait, what? He plays great under the blitz. Yeah, that's whenever you blitz him and you leave everybody open, that's his money. So if you blitz him, yeah, you're most likely going to get gashed no matter what. So you got to pick. Are we going to have the Kansas City Chiefs try to beat us with their rookie running back who looked good at the beginning of the season but has been dealing with a lot of different things, and it's been a tough time for him? Or are you going to try to get beat by the best player in the world? I'd rather try to get beat in the run game. So I would rather drop people back into coverage, try to make Patrick Mahomes look human, and have Clyde Edwards-Helaire be the one to try to beat us.
We go both going Chiefs here?
Both going Chiefs.
Yeah. Like I said, I obviously wouldn't have done it if Chad Henne were coming in, right? Like, if he were going to be the guy, I would have picked the Bills, I'm being completely honest. Mahomes gives you that next level. It gives you that X factor. And I think they get him another time. However, I expect this to be a lot more competitive in terms of, forcing Mahomes to throw more in the same way. Like, this could be a shootout as well. I honestly think we're in store for possibly 2 shootouts on Sunday and not as much elite defense.
I think so as well. My whole thing that if you want to beat Kansas City, and I've said this every single week, make Patrick Mahomes look human. The thing is, nobody's done that.
Well, and the other part is, if he only threw 6 interceptions this year.
Yeah.
But if you look back at where most of them came from, they were on 3rd and long situations. Get the Chiefs in 3rd and long, you force him to try to make a hero play, which that's the knock on Mahomes, is that he will, and it's not even a knock as much because there's so many times that he does make it. But when he doesn't, you're like, well, why'd you throw that ball? that's where the Bills want to get them. It's like, can we get the Chiefs in 3rd and long situations and force again a mobile? See how mobile Mahomes is, and can he make the plays? And if he does, we'll live with it. If not, that's where we wanted him anyways.
Make him see normal, because to him, normal is uncomfortable. He's been shown throughout the NFL he's not a normal quarterback. Make him look like an average quarterback, and then you've got the biggest shot in the world.
And my last prayer here, is Andy Reid, please. Airbnb, please. Let's not have any designed runs for Patrick Mahomes. If he scrambles, fine, but let's not have a read option or anything like this, because what happened last week could happen, or what happened last year could happen, right, where he's out for 3 games. Like, let's let him be a quarterback and only run when he feels absolutely necessary.
Basically, let's just make him pocket guy for this
That's right.
game.
Let's make him a pocket guy.
Then once we get to Super Bowl, then we'll let it off.
I would be really surprised if they allowed any of that type of play to happen again, especially coming off of his injury here. It's like, man, let's be safe with him now.
Before we get to our break, because of course we got to get our legal in. We're both saying Green Bay versus Kansas City. If we had to give the prediction right now,
yes.
Who is it?
To win the Super Bowl?
Because I will give you my prediction right now, and you're not going to like it. It's Green Bay.
I would go Kansas City because they would be in the position to repeat, and that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. But it's all going to depend on how they play this week. If they beat the Bills and it's like it's like, man, they got a lot of things to work on. Oh, by the way, you have to face Green Bay next. This isn't the 49ers of last year, right? They have an elite quarterback that you have to deal with.
Oh, yeah, and they got a true cornerback who's elite. This isn't Richard Sherman faking to be elite. It's Shaquille Alexander.
Yeah, I could see a Packers-Chiefs Super Bowl being like split 50-50 on picks. I really, really could.
That would be one of the most... That would be the funnest Super Bowl I've seen in a long time. I was trying to find the right words, but then again, grammar isn't working for me right now.
That's our picks, though. We got Chiefs over the Bills, and we got the Packers over the Bucks to move on. And we come back in the afternoon sports drive. We'll get into some buy or sell. And of course, Dan Campbell, new head coach of the Lions, and man, did he drop a crazy press conference. We'll let you hear that coming up in hour number 2.
And I don't know how we make it out when we make out on the low. Even if it rains, you'd rather make it snow. Both you and me know we gotta let it go. Laying on the ground, wondering why it's so cold. How we make it out when we make out on the low. Even if it rains, you'd rather make it snow.
It's hour number 2, afternoon sports drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Eckenpaw, rocking and rolling, getting you into your weekend. Hope it's going to be a fun one, right? Should be a lot of good football, basketball on to watch. Should be a fun-filled weekend.
Oh, yes, sir.
Getting close to that time too, Levi. What's dinner plans tonight?
Ooh, dinner. I've been going back and forth because sometimes I like to cook on my own, but also at the same time I'm just like I wouldn't mind just going through McDonald's every once in a while. Because here's the thing. I'm one of those suckers for some McDonald's fries. You give me that large fry. You give me one of their Sprites, because you know how people say that there's something up with those Sprites. Those Sprites hit different. And
Tropic Berry hits different. Bro.
Tropic Berry.
I don't know what they do, but that is, oh my gosh.
Give me some chicken nuggets as well, and just at that point, just call me one of the happiest beans on earth. Just
you know what
at
I
that
miss?
point.
If you're at McDonald's and you're listening, or if you work there, whatever. The secret sauce, that special sauce that they put in the little packets.
Yeah.
Like they had it at one time, and it was like you could get it with the sweet and sour or whatever. Oh my, I don't know what, it goes good with everything.
Yeah.
And they took it away.
Yeah.
So you hear me now. My plea is, McDonald's, bring it back.
Were you one of
please.
those guys that also did you ever watch Rick and Morty when they did the Szechuan sauce?
Yes. Yeah, it's exactly right. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've watched a lot of Rick and Morty. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a cool little reference, and not to whenever they did the Milan promotion.
Yeah.
Then everybody went crazy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Man, if you're listening out there and you work there, come on now, bring it back.
Hey,
for me.
Give us some coupons for some McDonald's fries.
Woo,
man.
good stuff.
I'll take some
you
McDonald's.
You got me one then now. You got me one.
I'm telling you, those fries hit different, man.
Bro.
Whenever it's been a long week, because this is, for me, it's the first week back of school. I've been dealing with law class. I don't want to talk about how I did on my test today. But after a long week, you sit down on your couch, you got some nice crispy McDonald's fries, you got your drink, and for us, it'll be some sports, or most likely also some gaming. Oh, it hits different on a Friday night.
Yeah, man, you're onto something there. I like it. All right, hour number 2. Let's get it going.
I'd buy that for $1.
Or are you selling?
You'll pick up the phone and you'll sell.
This is Buy or Sell on the Afternoon Sports Drive.
Make money, make money.
Buy or sell, and it's the Afternoon Sports Drive. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah. All right. So I talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire making a comeback this Sunday, hopefully. And with that happening, and he did run all over the Bills in his first time out. In fact, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me go ahead and just go ahead and pull up those numbers to be sure I had them right. Against the Bills, he had 26 carries, 161 yards, 4 catches, but only 8 yards. But he didn't have 26 carries. So that's 30 touches, okay, against the Bills. That's a lot. Like, for a Chiefs running back, for really any running back, but 26 carries, that's a lot. That's a big workload.
Oh, yeah.
So buy or sell this time around. He's good to go. If he's healthy, he's out there. 15-plus touches for him in this game against the Bills.
15-plus touches, I'll buy. I'll easily buy that because I think Le'Veon Bell right now, he's currently dealing with some injuries. Right now, he's being bothered by a swollen knee. So it's potentially that Le'Veon Bell may not play. So I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to get a lot of touches. You might see some Williams touches in there, here and there, just sprinkled throughout. But I would just really think the workload's going to go to Mr. CEH, and I think that's kind of going to be the guy that you're going to hope Buffalo is going to put all the pressure on Kansas City to go through. So if Buffalo wants to have the success they want to have, you got to make sure it goes all through Clyde. Clyde will still have really great numbers, and he'll still do really good. But for Buffalo to do really well, they're going to want that to happen. And for Kansas City to kind of disrupt Buffalo and go a little bit of couple runs here and there, and then bam, Patrick Mahomes up top to kind of fake him out a little bit. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no matter what, is going to be a big part of the game, and I think over 15 is easy.
Yeah, and I'm going to buy it cautiously. The reason I say that is because he is still listed questionable, but he's fully expected to play after he got into practice this week. I think we'll see him more on passing downs than anything.
I think so.
To get him involved, and you think about it as well, it might be an easy opportunity for Mahomes to kind of get in a rhythm, right? He's not a guy that's necessarily going to dump it off all the time, but you get Clyde out there in the flat a little bit. He's running a Texas route every now and again, and you're hitting him. I think that's something you can get Mahomes into a rhythm with. So I'll buy over 15 touches because, he's going to get his carries and stuff too. But I will say this for Chiefs fans, expect a pretty nice dosage again of Darrell Williams because he also, Darrell probably is the better pass blocker as well between those two. So he'll be out there plenty as well. But I'm going to buy it, especially, you take the history of what he did to Buffalo earlier this year, and they know that, hey, let's try this again, and if he's healthy, which it looks like he's going to be good to go, if that's the case, let's see if they've learned to stop Clyde or not.
Oh, yeah, let's definitely see. And with mine, I'm actually going to go to the NFC game. And another running back that I'm very curious about is Aaron Jones, because he has had a pretty good season. And I originally said he's going to get 15 plus carries, but I'm going to switch it up. Does Aaron Jones, buy or sell, does Aaron Jones get 15 plus touches, including it's running or passing?
I will buy that. I love Aaron Jones, by the way. I think he's a really underrated back in the league. We talk about good running backs, and it seems like his name doesn't come up enough when that happens. A lot of people do that. But he has been a big part of what the Packers do. It's so easy to overlook because they throw it all the time, and Devontae Adams is incredible, and Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Jones, he's a hard runner. When he gets in the open field, goodbye. He's really balanced in what he does, and he has a nose for the end zone. Now, I give him credit as well because they do mix in Jamal Williams on series and, the entire series. And I give Aaron Jones credit for not being that guy that's like, man, I want all the touches. Like, he still has plenty of touches, but he's like, I want all of it. He gets a little bit of a break every now and again. They get him in when they feel is right on certain series, and he makes the most out of what he does. Now, this is a Tampa Bay defense that would like to argue with me here and say, we're not going to let Aaron Jones do anything against us. But he's also a good pass-catching back. They'll line him up in routes every now and again, too. So I think he's in store for 15-plus touches in this game. And Aaron Rodgers really likes to get him involved, in the passing game too, especially early. Look for that. If Davante Adams isn't there, Aaron Jones might just be able to get you a few catches early on and kind of get some momentum going for the Packers. So, yeah, I'll buy it. I think that they need to get him over 15 touches to be successful in this game.
I think so as well, but I'm going to sell.
Okay.
I think what's actually going to happen is I think you're going to get more of a presence from A.J. Dillon. Mainly because whenever you're going up against some of these other big bodies from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, with the returning Vita Vea, you still have JPP. You have so many great talents on that other side. Sometimes Aaron Jones might just get stuffed right up the middle. He may not be able to get a lot going. But I think a big body like A.J. Dillon, where literally he's a Mack truck. This is what you wanted Eddie Lacy to be. You wanted him to be stocking. You wanted him to just plow a straight hole through somebody. This is what A.J. Dillon truly is.
Eddie Lacy. I have never in my life, I'll never forget didn't he end up with a different team besides the Packers?
Seattle.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think it was Seattle, right, that told him in the offseason. They were like, dude, if you meet this weight goal, like they were trying to get him to lose weight, like if you lose this much weight, you will make, and it was like a substantial amount of money.
It was like, I think it was like $500,000.
Yeah, it was like a huge incentive, and all he had to do was lose weight and get to this weight limit. And he never did.
I was going to say he didn't make it.
Never did.
But think about it. This guy's 247, and it's not Eddie Lacy.
He's a muscle.
It's a muscle man.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon, everybody laughed at Green Bay for taking him. A.J. Dillon's a tank, and he can truly work his way through some people. And it also wouldn't surprise me if you see Jamal Williams, because both Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon get their fair share of touches, same with Aaron Jones. But I think in this situation where you're going to be going up against the top of the top, I think you're going to see them try to get A.J. Dillon a little bit more involved. Okay. Still wouldn't surprise me if you see Aaron Jones more in the passing game, but I'm more predicting it's going to be like on the edge. I think it's going to be about, I assume about 13, but not 15 or over. I'm going to sell.
It's fair. We'll be watching out for that. I'm going to stick with the Packers. Davante Adams, we know he's my number one receiver right now. I mean, I'm especially active in the league. He's my number one guy.
But just remember out of all of it, just like my man Stephen A. says, man, Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man.
But what makes him bad is that you get down into the goal line situation, and they don't go away from Davante. Mm-hmm. I can't preach that enough. As so many other teams with the elite wide receivers, and the Bills do a good job with Stephon Diggs. They got to start using their elite wide receivers more, even when they're in short yardage situations at the goal line.
Aaron Rodgers, what he does is he gives that 6 mile that you saw versus the Rams. You're sitting here like, dude, this guy's got a problem, and then he just throws it to Davante Adams.
Jalen Ramsey's out there, they're talking smack before the game, and Jalen's like doing his normal "I'm going to lock you up" thing. Mm-hmm. Well, you get down at the 2-yard line or whatever it was, you send Davante in motion. Mm-hmm. There's a guy following him. They get crossed up when he sends him back across the play, and he's open in the corner of the end zone, and it's those little things right there where it's like, man, I wish teams would take a really good look at what they do when using their best receivers and use them in situations to score, not just in from the red zone and on. Use them when they're down near the goal line, and Davante and Aaron Rodgers do such a good job of that.
Oh, yeah, you also got to give a lot of credit to Matt LaFleur.
Absolutely.
I mean, the way the man's brain thinks, it just seems like, I remember at the beginning of this relationship, it was like, oh, this will never work. They won't be able to coexist. It seems like they work hand in hand perfect. Yeah. This isn't a Mike McCarthy type situation. No, LaFleur's like, okay, so what do you want to do, Aaron? This, and this. How about we add this? Like that idea. Let's get it on the field, and half the time it ends up in Davante Adams' hands.
And they kept him involved, man. That's the best thing. Like you said, give a ton of credit to Matt LaFleur for keeping him involved in those situations. So buy or sell Davante Adams 2 or more touchdowns against the Bucs.
Oh, I'll buy that. I think that this is gonna be the Davante Adams statement game if things go right. I think you could see Davante Adams truly, he's already broke out this season, but you want a playoff breakout. You want to put yourself at the top level in the NFL. And there are probably some people that I'm gonna go a DeAndre Hopkins. I want to go this, that, or the other, because there are other wide receivers who have definitely made their case this season. You do a breakout performance in the playoffs where you have 2 touchdowns, most likely upwards of 120, 130 yards. Yeah, you're putting yourself in some big playoff moments. That's going to put you all the way up in the standings, and that in my mind would put Davante in top 2 category, maybe even the top this season. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put that as a yes.
Yeah, he had one last week, right? And the yardage total wasn't huge by any means.
Only 66
he
yards.
didn't need it. He didn't need it. The way that the Packers were able to move the football. Now, this is one I think you do need a big yardage game from Devontae Adams, as well as I'll give him exactly at 2. Like I said, I think one of them is going to be more of a big-time play, 20 or more out. And then the other one's going to be, like I mentioned, they're on the goal line. They're going to get him involved and get him a quick score.
I so want this to be because Carlton Davis just locked up Michael Thomas, and I think you also got to put a lot of credit to Antoine Winfield Jr. Antoine Winfield Jr. was one of the best pickups in the draft. I mean, just Tampa Bay in general had a great draft, especially when you got Wirfs as well. I mean, that was incredible. But I really want Carlton Davis to get his smack talk done, and I want Devontae Adams to just roast him.
Hey, Devontae does such a much better job of getting open than Michael Thomas.
And staying healthy.
Well, that too. Well, Michael Thomas was he was obviously dealing with Drew Brees and the issues he had with the arm, but my goodness, he wasn't getting open at the time. Dude, I know you're facing a tough corner, but get open. You're an elite receiver.
Carlton Davis isn't like a top 10 corner, though.
Yeah, it was. Well, the fact that he didn't have one catch, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, 0 catches.
Just unbelievable.
That's definitely also has to give. That's a little bit of statement of how Drew Brees was, but that's also you got to put a lot of that on Michael Thomas.
It was a cap to Michael Thomas' terrible season.
Yeah.
What's your next one you got?
Oh, my next one, I believe, was kind of interesting. I had to make sure because I was having to try to think of them. I was in the middle of law class trying to get all that ready. Yes, because
this is a good one.
There was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I remember talking about this last night. Dwayne Haskins got picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 1-year deal, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world's going on in Pittsburgh. But buy or sell, even with the addition of Dwayne Haskins, and depending on what happens with Big Ben, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with their first-round pick, draft a quarterback.
Yeah, that's the kicker, right? Mm-hmm. Is first of all, is Big Ben going to come back?
Yeah.
And is getting Dwayne Haskins telling us something, or is it just insurance because they don't trust Mason Rudolph? Because they don't. I mean, let's be honest, they don't. And I think, as I said yesterday, the Steelers' worst nightmare, obviously Big Ben's not the same Big Ben. He's struggling. His arm's not the same. But their worst nightmare is having to decide and battle in the offseason between Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph. It's whoever wins this, we're still oh boy, this is not a great situation.
At that point, that's what I'm thinking. It's if you have to pick between Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph for one thing, I'm sorry for you. But then second, with that pick, I'm assuming that pick is the Mac Jones range.
Yeah, I think they would have that possibility.
It's Mac Jones or Kyle Trask. That's what that is.
So
I'd rather take my shot because you would have to be willing to go after a guy who is a system quarterback, which I think that's what Mac Jones is. But I think the guy who has the higher potential, at least in my opinion, is Kyle Trask.
I believe so too. I think so. I think I'll sell it, but if there's no Big Ben and they do get to that situation, and who knows, by then, in April, we could be hearing stuff, Dwayne Haskins, he's screwing around over here and can't even show up to, practice or OT or strength training or whatever, and he's on video for something controversial, then who knows,
I just hope he doesn't pull a James Harden and just invest in all of Pittsburgh's exotic clubs. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Well, he's already had those issues.
Yeah, he's already had those issues. I'm actually going to buy it.
Okay.
Mainly because with the quarterbacks in this draft, there can be about 5, 6 to 7 quarterbacks that could go in the first round, and that's extremely weird. But the thing is, a lot of franchises are running off the old dynasty. They are running off of all of these old heads that have been controlling the NFL, and the thing is, it's because they've been dominant. They've been dominant for so long. Big Ben has been able to basically have a chokehold on the Steelers' starting spot for however long, and they've tried to bring in so many people to replace him. That's not going to happen. You need the guy to where, and I'm pretty sure with how he was at the end of the Browns game when it was Pittsburgh Browns in the playoffs, the way he was sitting on the bench with the Pouncey brother, and it was just man.
Yeah.
That to me, the way he looked, that's either of this is going to be my last year or I am done. It's one of the two.
That's why I understand that because it could absolutely be, but I don't buy into it as much because I think the way Big Ben is as a competitor, I just don't think he could allow himself to go out like that.
I just wish he was I guess more of being able to realize himself and where he is in this situation, because we've seen that pretty much what Big Ben does is for about the first half of the season, he's pretty good. He's done that for the past couple years where he looks really great. The end of the season, he falls off a cliff. It's not worth staying if every time you get closer to the playoffs, you turn into a dud.
whoever it is with the what the Steelers do, they have to make the right choice because of the receivers they have. Like, even if Juju doesn't come back, which I'm not expecting him necessarily to, if he doesn't, then you still got Deontay Johnson and you still got Chase Claypool and James Washington. Like, dude, you have to take advantage while you can.
Truly, you don't need Juju. At this point, I would rather sign Alejandro Villanueva, who's been your left tackle of forever, because you've got so many wide receivers. I would rather secure my line for whoever in the world's going to be my quarterback instead of worry about a guy who's still worrying about his Corvette.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. You don't need him, especially if he's asking for a lot of money, right? It's like, at that point, you're just going to cut him. All right, let me give you one quick one here before we got to hit our break. We talked about Stephon Diggs, and he is, as we know, a great route runner, really good at getting open. But against Kansas City, buy or sell 10 or more catches.
Buy. It's the Stephon Diggs special.
He's good for it.
Oh, yeah. He's old reliable for Josh Allen, because if Cole Beasley can't get it, if John Brown can't get it, I'll tell you one man that's going to get it. It's Stephon Diggs. It's his daily ritual. I assume before every time they go out to practice, they do a little prayer together, and then they go throw about 20,000 balls to each other. And I know that this is definitely not really true, but this is also pretty funny to think about. I think it's literally these guys have been joint to the hip. That was a storyline coming out of their recent playoff victory, that these guys are joint to the hip. And I think no matter what, even if things are going wrong with almost every other wide receiver or the running backs, I think Josh Allen will be able to connect with Stephon Diggs. If push comes to shove, it's just going to be like how Aaron Rodgers relies on Devontae Adams. Josh Allen relies on Stephon Diggs.
I'm going to sell, but gets close. See, against Kansas City,
9?
Yeah, I'll give him 8. At Kansas City, earlier in the year, he had 6 catches, 46 yards, and he had the touchdown. That was another reason why they succeeded. He didn't have a huge game.
That's true.
So they found a way to limit him in that one. I think that's the main thing you're going to have to do here if you want to win against the Bills Sunday. So I'll give him 8 catches. I think he has a much higher yardage total, though. And again, he's absolutely a touchdown threat, too, when they get in the short yardage situations around the goal line. There's buy or sell on the afternoon sports drive. When we come back, Dan Campbell might have dropped the best press conference for a new head coach we've ever heard.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy so happy to go 4-12.
That means what? Oh, that means he's going to the Lions. Yeah, that's right.
Sir.
We're going to talk about him and see if he's a good fit and listen to what he had to say. Coming up next in the afternoon sports drive.
Levitating off the blacktop. Used to struggle getting started, now I can't stop. Used to be the quiet kid in the sandbox, now it's hands up every time that your man rocks. They ought to stop me coming in again. You mad? You thought we were synonyms? Too bad that's the water you're getting in. You're too fat for the sharks that you're swimming in.
Yeah, welcome back. Afternoon Sports Drive. Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah. Mike Shinoda in the house.
There you go. There was one thing I was wanting to mention to you at the beginning of the show, and it was the song Grinding for Your Intro. One day when you're not paying attention, I'm going to replace it with a different song. And it's actually going to be Grinding by Click. Have you heard that
yes,
song?
I've heard that song. Yeah.
I'm going to replace it one day when you're not paying attention.
Grinding.
Because here's the thing. At that point, you're going to be like, oh, wait, this bops as well, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but it's like a Pavlov's dog thing for me. I hear the intro, and I'm like,
that's true.
Back in. Now, if I ever play that song off the show, immediately I'm like, oh, I'm about to go on air. Oh,
yeah,
no,
at that point, you're just like, it's time.
Yeah. Now, if I heard a different intro song, I'd be like, what is happening?
At that point, I'm just going to try to see if I can make you laugh. That's kind of like how I did for a while with Tom when it came to the Sunday night jukeboxes. I would always put in a song to see what he thinks, which I'm still, if Tom is out there listening, you better watch yourself, because I've got a song for you that I've got up the sleeve that I'm going to make sure to get to you tomorrow.
So one thing Tom Dorado enjoys, it's messing with his jukebox stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just randomly put one song that he was looking for somewhere. Where's the CD? I don't know, Tom. No. I have never done that before. Just in case Tom thinks I'm kind of incriminating myself. I've never done that.
There you go. So the Lions got a new coach. The Eagles got a new coach yesterday. There's only one vacancy left, and lo and behold, the Houston Texans, who a lot of people were pretty sure that would be Eric Bieniemy's spot, have still not found their guy. And they're still hoping they can keep their quarterback around. Well, now the Lions found their guy, and Dan Campbell's coming over. The question is, and we'll get to more of them in a minute, will he have the pieces to work with? But the big news from yesterday was he decided to come in his press conference as the new head coach. This is what Dan Campbell had to say about where his team will be headed.
This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised, and I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. I can give you, hey, we're going to win this many games. I can't. None of that matters, and you guys don't want to hear it anyway. You've had enough of that. So excuse my language. All right. Here's what I do know is that this team is going to take on the identity of this city. All right. And this city's been down, and it found a way to get up. All right. It's found a way to overcome adversity. All right. And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right, that's going to be the mentality.
Whoa, I'm fired up.
I want to go run through a brick wall and then get up and run through another one.
When I heard that yesterday, I was like, whoa. Wait, what did he just say?
Yeah, I was like, what? And then I also double-ticked and I was like, that's actually what Detroit needs, because they need somebody that's actually kind of going to play everything straight. It's telling everybody what everybody knows, but no one in the Detroit Lions organization ever wants to say it. They never want to say that they're in a bad situation and that things are bad. The city of Detroit, half the time with all of their teams, are usually in a bad spot. You've got a guy that recognizes it all and says, but hey, we're going to kind of rest back on what Detroit is known for. Whenever you think of Detroit, tell me, what's the first thing you think about?
Eminem.
I mean, that's not a wrong answer. I think of the.
You asked me.
I did. I think of the Bad Boys. I think of the Motor City. I think of a city that is truly known for, whenever it's in its prime, about chewing people and spitting them out like they're nothing. And if you got a guy like Dan Campbell who is going to try to bring that, if he's going to try to bring that intensity and kind of put everybody in that mindset of like, hey, everybody knows what we're going to be, but this is of what we are, but this is what we are going to be. We are going to be the Detroit Lions, and we're not talking like terrible Detroit. We're going to bring everything back.
Yeah, and I appreciate the as he said, the no coach speak thing, like, because it's kind of what you expect, and you hear it all the time, right? He comes up, and it would be, I can't wait to lead this organization, and we're going to do a lot of good things, and we're going to...
They have a lot of excellent talent. I can't wait to coach these guys.
Can't wait, man.
They're
blah,
getting
blah,
to a Super
blah,
Bowl.
blah, blah.
And it's like, we all know the goal. We all know the mantra. It's just like, no one half the time ever tells it straight. And the thing is, when somebody tells it straight, that's when it becomes clear that he actually gets it.
Yeah, he's like, hey, man, I am not going to BS you here. We are coming after every team. We're going to adopt this mentality everywhere. And the thing that makes it important to me is because under Matt Patricia, it was the complete opposite. Like, Matt Patricia went in there and royally failed, right? He had a good thing going with the Patriots, and I thought that he would make a decent head coach based off what he was able to do with that defense and the relationships he seemed to have with the New England Patriots and the success. However, he got over there, and it was the exact same thing. Now, part of that is the lack of talent. However, you have a coach that comes in, if he can't improve anywhere, and it's still the laughing stock. That's the thing, right? Yeah. It's not just there are bad teams in the NFL that we can say they're just really bad. But the Lions, we were one of those teams where we're like, dude, they're the Lions. Like, they're so bad that we make fun of them all the time.
Yeah. The only thing that they got right during his time was some of the guys they drafted. DeAndre Swift, excellent. TJ Hawkinson, excellent. Besides that, the play on the field, horrendous.
Defense, terrible.
And here's the thing, they always get guys for defense. I mean, they got Jeff Okudah with, what was it, like the 3rd overall pick in this past draft? Jeff Okudah's been okay, but he's not been the top guy. He's not been the top corner. But you also look, it's just they never truly were able to address the needs that they needed to address.
Well, and then for this year, for me, it was the unwillingness to play DeAndre Swift. It took until like week 13, and they were like, yeah, let's start giving him a heavier load. Like, yeah, I get he's a rookie, But what? Adrian Peterson?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Really? At the running back position, and DeAndre Swift was the electric guy you wanted out of the draft. Like, he was the one I expected the Chiefs to grab.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here with all this talent and ability, and he's watching old man Adrian Peterson still get a bunch of carries. And that's the thing. It was the Detroit way. Like, the Lions' ability to not recognize where guys should be and not utilize talents, and the same thing goes back all the way to Megatron, right? Like, they used him as much as possible, but they wasted him at the same time.
That goes all the way back to Barry. Whenever they used him basically until he was dust, and then he ended up having to retire, and most likely too early, because Barry, the best running back in college football history. If anybody disagrees with that, I don't think anybody disagrees with that on these radio waves. So, I mean, the man, amazing. Will always be amazing, and if anybody's got a problem with that, come see me. I always come back to that line because I always love Mark Ingram. But Detroit is known for wasting talent. Currently, they have wasted Barry. They've wasted Megatron. So far, they've wasted Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's got a couple years left.
I think so, yeah.
By far, he's only got a couple years. Wouldn't surprise me if they just trade him off, say, Matt Stafford, thank you for everything, goodbye. Wouldn't surprise me, and honestly, kind of would be okay with it. They also technically they wasted Darius Slay's career, but now he's over at the Eagles trying to get his career wasted again.
Yeah, that's why, like, Dan Campbell can say all that, and I'm that's great. You know, I want to root for him. I want him to succeed, and the Lions desperately need it after the nasty taste Matt Patricia left in their mouths.
But there are two things. There's words and there's results.
Yes.
He hasn't shown us any results because this is his first head coaching job.
Well, and what does he have to work with? You know, it's like I said, pretty likely Matt Stafford is gone. Pretty likely Kenny Golladay is gone. You hope that you're like you mentioned earlier, your best players are T.J. Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift. Okay, you've got a tight end and a running back. Oh, what about the quarterback spot? What about the wide receiver spot? What about an offensive line that can actually do something?
What about a defensive line that can actually stop the run game?
There's just too many holes here. So I think it's great for the city. They're like energized, and they love to hear, oh man, the Lions are coming back to make some noise, and hopefully that's the case. And I like his enthusiasm, but he's got a lot of hurdles to overcome. Now, if he comes out and manages to put together even an above 500 season, then we're all like, whoa.
I'll tell you one thing. At this point, if Detroit can at least put even a 500 season together, that's great. I hope, though, as they go, I hope they just, like, adopt Eminem as, like, a theme song. Like how with Philadelphia they did Meek Mill, do that with Eminem.
Might as well. I mean, he's the guy, right?
What would be
he
the song,
embodies
though?
Detroit.
What would be the song, though?
You go back all the way to, like, I don't know, Lose Yourself, old stuff like that.
I think it would have to be Lose Yourself. Because all the other stuff just seems like a little too wacky.
The new stuff you can't do. Like, it's not good.
New stuff.
Like Eminem was like, he should have retired a long time
as a
ago.
person who still listens to Eminem, I didn't listen to Music to Be Murdered by. The B-side, not going to touch that. But the original album, honestly, a couple bangers. Only like one or two, and the rest of them you don't want to touch. But there are a couple on there.
He should go back. What did the stuff he did with Royce to 5'9", right?
Honestly, also, if you just want to go with a different guy, use Royce to 5'9", because I'm pretty sure he's also from Detroit.
I think that's why they did the Bad and Evil stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, go back and that stuff. There's a few songs off those albums. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a guy that I've been listening to a lot more than Eminem, and
love
Royce to 5'9" has, I mean, because doesn't he have an album that's up for a Grammy this year?
I think so. Yeah,
I believe that's the right award, so I'm not putting it in the right place. But yeah, Royce, his albums have actually been fire. His verses have been fire. If you want to go with another guy to be kind of like the theme for Detroit, I wouldn't be mad about Royce to 5'9".
Did you know that's Dan Campbell's next step? He's like, now that I've said all this, let me get my representatives here. Eminem and Royce to 5'9" will come in, and they will get you pumped up every single week.
It is Detroit versus everybody.
Hey, that's his mindset, man. It absolutely is.
Another rapper, Big Sean.
Detroit. Let's go.
His album is named Detroit 2.
That's right.
I mean, it's perfect.
He's got a perfect opportunity, and we just gave him all those opportunities. He's got to use them. We come back on the afternoon sports drive to put a bow on it. Talk about what we learned on this Friday, get you into your weekend. It's coming up next.
Feel like I'm gonna puke, cause my taxes are due. Do my password begin with a 1 or a 2? Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow.
Metronome.
Man, I'm up to something. Ooh-dee-la-dee-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like
the afternoon sports drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network with Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah. Friday weekend is right around the corner. right? Put your hands up for that, right? Like, let's get some AJR going for that. The Weeknd, you made it!
Yeah. Ooh. We made it, baby.
We made it. And you're here on the right spot in the afternoon sports drive. To round out the show, we're going to tell you, because Levi's in, and I know, Levi, every time you're in here with me, you learn something, right? Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
You learn something.
Half the time it's bad.
Half the time it's bad. And we're going to tell you exactly what we learned.
The day is coming to an end. Time to find out if these two got any smarter. Let's find out what the guys learned today on the afternoon sports drive.
I
learned something today.
What I learned today, Levi, and it's sad, but it was a legend. Hank Aaron passed away. To me, he will probably still always be the all-time home run leader, because Barry Bonds, we know, probably did it somewhat illegally here and passed him. And if you look at what Hank Aaron did, that was back in the day of just raw baseball, right? That was raw baseball talent.
Baseball the closest at its core.
Yeah, and it was just what he was able to do with 755 home runs before steroids. Like, that's impressive. 3,000 hits that weren't home runs, also extremely impressive. And he did it in an era where people did not favor him on his color of skin in that sport, right? And he was always super, super gracious and humble about it. I think he's one of the greats in sports history, and he passed away today. I think it was 86 was his age. So that's definitely sad news, but the legacy he left, not just in baseball, but in sports, incredible.
Oh, yeah, he's one of the all-time top guys in sports. Without him, several things don't happen in various leagues throughout time. So without him, not a lot of things get done. So you always got to pay respect to legends. You always got to pay your respects. My thing that I learned today, Marshawn Lynch, and here we go. I'll move
Beast
over.
mode.
I'll move over to the little bit lighter side. Beast mode is 1-0 in hockey. Apparently, there was a video that came out on. I believe some athlete recorded, but it went out on Sports Center.
Saw that.
And NFL on ESPN, and Marshawn was playing hockey. It was just hilarious. If anybody knows me, I'm a Beast mode fan. But he said, "All right, after that, I'm retiring.
He's done, yeah.
I'm retiring."
He hung him up after one time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I don't blame him either, because if I step out on the ice, I'm busting. Like, I'm busting and hitting. I'm hitting ice as soon as I step out there.
Hockey's legit, dude. You got to be a new next level tough.
Hockey's scary, man.
And that's Marshawn Lynch. Like, he ran through guys for a living, and he's like, nah. But
Canadians, you crazy.
What the best part about Marshawn, you put a video camera on him, and
it's gold.
Yeah, you're gonna get millions of views, and he could be doing any type of TV show right now, and people would watch. Yeah.
Exactly. I also have one more thing.
Okay.
I think people are starting to get tired of Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah,
because
I've heard a little bit about that.
Because last night on NBA, I believe it was either last night or the night before on NBA on TNT.
TNT, yep.
He was interviewing Donovan Mitchell, and like Shaq was trying to take some shots at Donovan Mitchell and talking about like questioning Donovan Mitchell, and then Donovan Mitchell was just like shaking it off, like, all right, it's what you think, and literally just almost basically no-sold all of Shaq's stuff. Like, Shaq has been trying to go at people, whether it's Donovan Mitchell, whether it's Rudy Gobert, his teammate. Like, he's really been going at people, and the thing is, I think people are kind of tired of it.
Yeah, I don't really know what Shaq's angle is. You know, it's goofy, funny, but at the same time, I think that he does that part so much that it's like a lack of seriousness that's taken with him anymore. Because Charles Barkley on the set is the guy that, like, he'll just tell you how it is. He don't care. And he don't care what players think or say anyways, and they'll make fun of him. He's fine. But Shaq, yeah, it's a little different approach from him there.
Yeah, and it's weird because the generational gap between Shaq and a guy like Donovan Mitchell, it's so much.
Yeah,
and to see him trying to criticize and basically just trying to roast the world out of Donovan Mitchell, who's literally, he's just with the Orlando Magic, and he's just trying to get his team back to the playoffs, and to see him just, oh, I don't know if you're really that good, if I don't know if you can do it. And he's just like, I mean, I would almost have the same reaction, like, okay, man, that's your opinion, whatever. Go eat Krispy Kremes. Go do a Hanes commercial. Do you got more icy hot? Like, please, just, if you're gonna be like that, and it wasn't even like felt like criticism. It felt like he was just trying to be a jerk a little bit. So if you're gonna be like that, Don't do that. Just at that point, just be the funny Shaq that we all know, and leave that stuff for Charles Barkley or like KG. Whenever, because I remember KG. I don't know if they still do that KG Cave segment, but if they don't do that, bring that back. That was actually excellent.
Yeah, leave it to everybody else, right?
Yeah.
This has been the Afternoon Sports Drive on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. That's Levi Peckinpah. I'm Patrick Wheeler. Don't forget you can catch Levi's show Monday through Thursday from 8 to 10 here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. O'Cauley Sports Student Section, right? Should
yes,
be
sir.
Good stuff coming up next week.
Bangers each week. We keep on producing.
There you go. It's going to be, you get live stuff all day here, and then doesn't end after our show. You tune back in at 8 o'clock, and Levi's coming in with the heat.
Yes, sir.
That's Levi. I'm Patrick, and everybody enjoy your weekend. Again, Oklahoma State basketball tip-off tomorrow, 1 p.m. against Baylor on CBS. If you're over there on ESPN trying to find the game, you will not find it. Make sure you're on CBS to watch that ball game. We'll have reaction for that next week. We'll have reaction of what happens and who's in the Super Bowl. We'll know after this weekend. Should be good stuff. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.